Good morning, fifth grade. This is Miss J here. Today is Thursday, April 9th. I hope you guys are all doing well and finding super productive things to do, all while still having fun and spending time with your families. Now, in front of you, you should have scratch paper and a pencil. If not, pause the video and go ahead and get those materials. You should also have a tab open with this packet. Okay, let's jump right into math review. Now, before we continue, you should have completed all of the practice problems before we jump in. If not, pause the video, make sure that you've completed all of your work, and then come back so that we can go over the work. Okay, to start, we're going to convert fractions to decimals and convert decimals to fractions. Go ahead and check your work. Now, some of these may be a little bit more difficult than others if you don't have it memorized. For example, we have 6/10, right? That's pretty easy. We know that 6/10 of this decimal is written this way. We also know that if we simplify 6/10, we would get 3/5. So that automatically tells us that 3/5 is equivalent to 6/10, and our decimal would be the same. If you notice any mistakes, pause the video and revise them. The value of the 5 in 40 and 52 hundredths is how many times the value of the 5 in 115 and 78 hundredths. Now, a good way to look at this is to stack our numbers on top of one another. There. When we have our numbers stacked on top of one another, we can see that our 5 in 40 and 52 hundredths is 1/10 the value of the number of the 5 in 115 and 78 hundredths. It's one place value behind, so we know that that is 1/10. Next, we're going to classify the numbers as either prime, composite, square, or a multiple of 9. Now, let's review what prime, composite, square, or a multiple of 9 are. A prime number is a number that can only be multiplied by 1 in itself. A composite number is a whole number that has more than 2 factors. A square number is the product of a number that has been multiplied by itself. For example, 2 times 2 is 4, so 4 is a square number. A multiple of 9, when the sum of the digits equals 9, it is a multiple of 9. So let's classify our numbers. So we know that 7, 23, and 19 are numbers that can only be multiplied by 1 in itself. 25, 36, 48, 63, and 81 have more than 2 factors. You'll notice that some numbers can be in more than one category. 25, 36, and 81 are square numbers because they have a factor that has been multiplied by itself. So 25, 5 times 5 equals 25, 6 times 6 is 36, and 9 times 9 is 81. 36, 63, and 81, we know those are multiples of 9 because the sum of all the digits in each number is 9. So 3 plus 6 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9, and 8 plus 1 is 9. Show your work with a number sentence or a table. Jessica is measuring 2 line segments. The first line segment is 4 and 4/10 meters long. The second line is 450 centimeters long. How long are the 2 line segments together? So we know that we can't add 2 units to unlike units. So we have to make sure that we are converting. Now it's up to you whether you decide to convert into meters or centimeters. I chose to convert into meters. So here I've drawn my table. I know that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So I'll show my work for that. Then I'll just plug in my numbers. I know that 4 and 4/10 times 100 is 450. So now that I've converted my meters into centimeters, I can add my numbers together. So again, my first line segment is 4 and 4/10 meters. My second line segment is the same. So the 2 line segments are 9 meters if I add them together. I'm sorry, let's backtrack a little bit. My work that I showed here was from meters to centimeters. So I converted my meters to centimeters. So if I were to add that up, 450 plus 450 centimeters, I would get 900 centimeters. So, but I did both. So I knew that I could convert centimeters to meters, and that's already done by looking at my table. So then if I add those together, I would get 9 meters. I use the same strategy for my next problem. Maria purchased 12 meters. Saya purchased 550 centimeters. What is the total length of ropes both of them purchased? Now, using the same strategy that I used in the last problem, I want you to check your work. If you find a mistake, go back and revise it so that you get the correct answer. Again, I have more conversions. Go ahead and check your work. And here we have like units, so we can just add those together. So for our next problem, our directions tell us with each problem, you need to determine the divisor and the dividend, solve the problem, explain the quotient in a full sentence. There are 600 students at a school. If each classroom holds 30 students, how many classrooms are needed at the school? I know that my dividend is 600 because that is the total amount that is being divided up. So see a total amount of students at a school. I know the divisor is 30 because that is how many groups the 600 students will be divided into. Now, looking at my number, I know that 600 divided by 30 is going to equal 20. So the quotient is 20 because that is how many classrooms are needed at the school. I'm going to pause right here so that I can tell you guys the secret code. The secret code for today's math review is Drake. D-R-A-K-E. Now, that is a proper noun, but in this case, I want you guys to type in the secret code in lowercase letters. Again, the secret code is Drake, D-R-A-K-E. Our next problem, Tom bought 330 crayons that came in packs of 15. How many packs of crayons did Tom buy? What's our dividend here? Right, it's 330 because that is the total amount that's going to be divided. What's our divisor? Right, 15, because that's how many groups 330 will be divided into. Now, I showed repeated subtraction here. I know that 15 goes into 30 twice, so 15 is going to go into 320 times. So from there, I was able to solve. And I know that Tom bought 22 packs of crayons. For the next part of math review, we're going to be dividing two-digit whole numbers from four-digit whole numbers. So we have 2,523 divided by 87. Now I showed my work here. It's very helpful with a division problem like this to use strategic groups. So I knew that 80 times 20 is 1,600. So I was able to use that knowledge to come up with strategic groups. So I knew that 87 times 20 was 1,740. And then I have 87 times 25, which is 2,175. And then 87 times 30 equals 2,610. So I was able to already estimate around how many groups a number that I can use to start. So I began with 2,175. When I subtracted that, I got 348. I know that that's 25 groups. 87 times 4 is 348. And I also made a multiples list here to help me out. So I have 25 and 24. Add those together, and my answer is 29. Next, we have an even trickier problem. We have 1,533 divided by 19. So I use the same strategy. But you're going to notice something here. I had 81 groups of 19 and 1,539, but I have a remainder. Now what we can do with that remainder is turn it into a fraction, which I did here. and I got 81 and 14/19. Now I want you guys to check the rest of your work. Now we're going to pause there. Again, make sure that you've checked all of your work. Now you're going to head over to Google Classrooms to complete your math review exit ticket. Now remember, if you missed the secret code, go back and rewatch the video. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teachers and ask any clarifying questions, or you can request a conference. That's the end of math review for today. Have a great day, everyone.